At age 19, American-born Izzy Ezagui emigrated from the U.S. to Israel and joined the Israeli Defense Forces. His dream was to defend and protect the Jewish homeland. In 2008, after months of mortar attacks on Israeli cities from Gaza, Israel made the decision to fight back and launched Operation Cast Lead. During that conflict, Izzy was deployed to the front lines. He sustained serious injuries in a mortar attack, losing his left arm, his dominant arm, above the elbow. After months of recovery and rehabilitation, Izzy weaned himself off of heavy painkillers, got back in shape, and did the unimaginable. He returned to active duty in the IDF, becoming the world's only one-armed Special Forces sharpshooter.
Izzy Ezagui joins us now. We welcome you to the 700 Club.
Thank you.
You have a fascinating story. You've made some amazing choices in your life. At 19, you moved to Jerusalem and you joined, or Israel, and you joined the IDF. What prompted you to do that, Izzy?
Well, it was mainly knowing the history of the Jewish people. My family became Orthodox when I was about 8 years old, and for the first time I was going to Bible class. I'm obsessed with stories. I'm a storyteller. And just hearing what we went through as a people historically, the Israelites, the Holocaust, everything in between, I said, you know what, I don't want my people to suffer anymore. I want to take part in defending them.
So God obviously moved on your heart to motivate you. You go over there and you get sent to the front line with the Gaza conflict. Were you, I mean, what did you think? Were you nervous? Were you scared? Were you David and Goliath? What were you?
Oh gosh, I don't think I was thinking about the danger aspect of it too much. Most kids don't. Yeah. I was focused on the mission. I felt well trained, and obviously I was very surprised when it happened.
Tell us about the day that it happened. You were in a tent, I understand. Tell me exactly what went on that day.
Yeah, well, I was debating whether or not to tell my mother where I actually was. I kept lying to her every day, telling her I was on a different quiet border. Yeah. I went as far as to complain that they had us washing dishes because we were so new. And because we were about to go inside Gaza for the first time, I was trying to figure out whether or not it was worth telling her the truth. And that decision was made for me by a 120 millimeter mortar, which is a very large rocket.
What was it like when that thing hit?
Well, unfortunately, I do remember all the details.
You do?
I remember everything like it was an HD recording. The most prevalent thought was probably just wanting to talk to my mother. Yeah. I was holding my phone in my hand when I was injured. It went flying. And I just wanted to talk to her. I wanted to let her know that I had no regrets, that I believed in what I was fighting for.
Did you think you were going to die?
Oh, at that moment, for sure, yeah.
So what happened? You got out of there.
I did. I got out of there. I was taken to a bunker. I was treated. They put tourniquets on. A helicopter flew me to the hospital. And honestly, even before surgery, at that point, I was already told I was going to survive. Wow. And I got to speak to my mother on the phone. I got to calm her down, and I asked her to listen to my voice. I told her, "Can you hear that I'm going to be okay?" Yeah. And she said, "Yes, I can hear that." And the second that happened, you know, she became so much stronger. She stopped crying, and I haven't heard her cry about the injury since.
Yeah. Did you realize you were going to lose your arm at that point?
Oh, I knew. I grabbed one of the doctors by his lab coat and I said, "Are you going to put this thing back on?" And he said, "There's no way to do it. Yeah. Your elbow exploded and that joint is required to reattach it."
Sure. Yeah. So Izzy, I mean, that was an unbelievably traumatic experience, costing you a lot, and then you decided to go back into active duty. Explain.
I don't know if that's the kind of thing that you can explain. I mean, I tried. I wrote a memoir called Disarmed, and I tried to explain what went through that mental process, but it's not something that happened over the course of months. It happened the very moment that I woke up. I knew that I wanted to go back.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you are now a one-armed sharpshooter. How does that, I mean, I see pictures of you holding these enormously heavy guns. Yeah. How does one do that?
Lots of practice, I guess, would be the main thing, and just belief, understanding the importance of why I do it, wanting to protect Israel and the Jewish people, knowing our history, all of that gives you strength.
How has this changed you?
Oh, in many ways, and for the better.
Yeah.
You know, I think that it's not just me. I think all of us, we all suffer through a different version of that lost arm. We all have, you know, that scar. And so many of us choose the right path, which is to use it for good, to help it focus us in the right direction.
There are a lot of people watching who are on their own path, perhaps not having experienced what you did, but nonetheless, trauma. What would you say to them?
Yeah, I mean, again, that trauma, it covers so many different types of things. It could be divorce, it could be depression, it could be cancer. There's so many different things that it covers, but I think it also gives us strength. There's no one among us that doesn't have some kind of suffering. It makes us who we are in a good way.
If we let it,
If we let it.
If we let it. You're now speaking and inspiring people with your stories all across the country, and I imagine in other parts of the world as well. What's next for you?
I moved to Hollywood, to Los Angeles, about a year ago after I finished writing the book, and now I screenwrite. So hoping to make it in that business. Tell some more stories. I told you I'm a storyteller.
And you've lived through some very big ones.
Yes, that's true.
Amazing. Well, your story is inspiring to all of us, and I would imagine that the heart that you have is going to tell stories we'll all be ready and want to hear. Bless you.
Thank you.
Bless you. What a great